Welcome back, Choco Crime Nerds. Just a quick update on the Katherine Restelli case, or rather the Matthew Restelli M case. We finally have one of 3 of the perpetrators now wrapped up in a bow, with 2 more to come. This is a case that happened in American Fork, Utah, and I actually broke it before Gigi did. So I'm kind of proud of myself on that one. I'll give a quick little walnut shell summary, and then we'll dive into what happened most recently. Let's do it. If you're new here, I'm Annette Lyon, USA Today bestselling author of the suspense novel Just One More and a whole bunch of other stuff. Here's the big overview. If you aren't familiar with the case, in July of 2024, so just a year ago, he was lured to Utah from California under the guise that his estranged wife wanted to reconcile. She had been in Utah visiting her mother, and they had at least 2 small children, and his wife lured him here and with an air tag tracked him, and with her mother and brother lured him in, and where her brother then took a firearm and offed him with the supposed argument or defense that he had barged in and was attacking them. This was self-defense. So many things at the scene were sketchy, and down to the fact that like they put a knife in his hand after he passed, and he was left-handed. I'm sorry, that's Agatha Christie 101. Get a clue, guys. And then things like they waited way long to call 911. The evidence, they had an air tag, they had tracking with them, all the cell phone data, texts as far as planning it, post behavior, all of these different things. They recognized very quickly that this was a very sketchy situation. And so the mother, Katherine, the wife, and the brother, Kevin, were all arrested. And the most recent thing is that Katherine, let's see here, she pled guilty and has now been sentenced. I wanted to cover some of what happened there. September 9th, Katherine Restelli was sentenced after pleading guilty to her part in conspiring to commit M, and then discharging a firearm recklessly or illegally or whatever. Matthew's mother gave her impact statement, and some of what she said was just heartbreaking, understandably so. She said, "Someday I hope," speaking to Katherine, "you understand the depth of your actions, but that will never bring Matt back." This is Dionne Restelli, Matt's mother, again speaking. "You stripped me of his presence. Your children will never experience this incredible father as they grow into adulthood." And she talked about how Matthew used to call her multiple times a day and take care of her, that his death has created a massive hole in her heart, and how her daughter-in-law had betrayed her and had no remorse or compassion. She said, "Like Matt, I had done nothing to you to deserve this level of betrayal." Ugh. The last conversation she had with her son was 2 hours before he arrived at the house, where he would then be gunned down within seconds of his entry. There were some reduced charges because she pled guilty, and it appears that she has agreed to also testify against her mother and brother, and yet she has been given a relatively hefty sentence. And now again, this is one of those things, I hate how the Utah sentencing thing works, because there's a really low end and then there's a really high end of things, but the parole board is the one who makes the final decision, but the low end never happens. She got 1 to 15 years on 2 counts, and then 5 years to life on a 3rd count. So it was a minimum of 6 years. If it's a 1 to 15 years, it's going to be at least 10 on those counts, and then to life on the other. So she's going to be in there for some time, especially since she shows literally no remorse. She has been given almost a year of credit, 316 days that she has spent up to the point of sentencing. Now, it was the Judge Roger Griffin, 4th District Judge Roger Griffin, who I really appreciate what he said. He read multiple letters connected to the case, saying that, oh, she loves her children and this and that. And he says, that is simply not true. Quote, "Your selfish actions show that you didn't love your children at all. You made them victims. Let me be clear. Your children are victims of your actions. They'll be lifetime victims of your actions, and they deserve to grow up without you." Can you imagine if you actually had the heart of a mother, how much that would cut? But I think he's right, that she did this to her children, and there's no remorse from what we can tell. He also issued a protective order so that she can't contact her children. So it appears that Matthew's younger brother, Mark, he has custody of Matthew's children, and will be raising them. The judge said that he denied her claim that I wanted to back out of the conspiracy because she was luring him right up to that last moment. So yeah, bogus. She expressed sorrow and she cried and said that she cried for sorrow for the pain she had caused, saying that she didn't think about that at the time. He's just gonna die and no one's gonna care? What kind of callous sociopath are you? My gosh, this blew my mind. This is a quote from Katherine. "My heart breaks for his children, his family, his friends, and his community." Okay, that sounds lovely, except that she referred to her own children as his children.
No!
What? Supposedly she wiped tears from her eyes. I haven't seen any video, so I don't know if there were actual tears or she was just doing that. But I suspect there were tears, she's probably more sad for herself than anything. Her attorney said that he hopes that the Restelli family can forgive her because that will be the only way that the protective order can be lifted so that she could even contact her children. Actually, I hope that doesn't happen because her children are scarred. They don't need that. Matthew's brothers, Paul and Mark, they also give their impact statements. And Mark, who is now the one raising the children, said that he regrets not speaking to his brother in 2022. There was a Father's Day barbecue where he said he didn't feel comfortable around Katherine. He didn't elaborate, or at least this article doesn't, but he said he didn't feel comfortable around Katherine, and that's why he didn't invite them to the next family event, and now he regrets not explaining that to his brother. He says that Matt was loyal to Katherine over everyone else in his life, including me. She had him trapped and was injecting venom. And here's what kills me is that generally speaking, being loyal to your spouse above anyone else is laudable. It's just a problem, of course, if your spouse happens to be a sociopath or this cold-hearted person who's going to off you. I would love to find out what she did at that barbecue and elsewhere that was poisoning him. Apparently, the brother said he also wanted to reach out again when she took the kids to Utah to visit her mother a couple of years later. This of course, that's in 2024. And he didn't reach out, and he says he regrets it. I hope he doesn't feel guilty, because if his brother Matthew was so intent on being loyal to his wife and trying to preserve his marriage, nothing that Paul or Mark could have said would have changed that. And it could have potentially put a wedge between the brothers. And you need to preserve that relationship too, so that if and when things fall apart, we would have hoped it would have been in a divorce situation, not this. But then he would have his brother's relationship to turn to. So I hope that Mark and Paul don't blame themselves for anything, because I don't think Matthew would have listened. He was trying so hard to save his marriage and his family, but it, of course, was not to be. Apparently, the children were in the room directly above when the shots rang out, which is horrific. And that's actually why there was an aggravated enhanced factor to the charges, because it was near children. He says that he hopes that his soul was able to say goodbye. That's just heartbreaking. He said that they're raising their two children along with his own, and because they're with him, they now have a fighting chance at life now they're away from Katherine. He said he brought his niece to a father-daughter dance, which he plans to do each year, but said that should be his brother's role. She took my brother, he said. She took her children's father. She destroyed her children's future. Matt's kids didn't deserve this. The other attorneys were saying that it's disappointing that she's still trying to minimize her involvement. But at this point, her mother and brother are each charged with the big M and conspiracy to commit it, obstruction of justice, and counts of domestic violence in the presence of a child. And Alice also has some drug charges and possession of a firearm as a restricted person. We'll see what happens. I'm glad that she did not take this to trial, because that would have been another level of pain and anguish that Matthew's family does not deserve. The evidence is so overwhelming. You can go watch my other video to show all of that. Even just early on, it was very clear that this is not an innocent situation. Tracy, her mother, and then her brother Kevin, looks like they are set for trial at this point, scheduled for early in 2026. They're saying January or February, so we don't have dates yet. And with the way these things go, it could easily be bumped back. So who knows for sure, but at least one of the three has been sentenced, pled guilty, wrapped up in a bow. That's done. And I cannot imagine that Tracy and Kevin will get off, because just the evidence that has been released publicly is pretty dang damning, in my opinion. Justice has been served in one count. Let's hope it's served in the other two as well. Time for some chocolate.